In 2020, a man earned himself $2 million from DoorDashing by figuring out how to get DoorDash to pay him for delivering food to himself. Here's how it works.
Yeah, welcome back into the channel, Rockstars. And a topic I get asked about a lot in my comments and messages, DMs, are people doing side hustles and side jobs in addition to reselling, like Uber Eats, DoorDash, or driving people on trips via Uber. And I've never done it myself, but there are seemingly a lot of schemes and scams going on in the Uber, DoorDash, Uber Eats world. We're gonna jump into them today. Everything from people ripping off Uber, to Uber ripping you off, to ripping off their drivers, and a whole lot more. Let's just jump into the first clip. And I'm wondering if there's some of you out there that are Uber Eats or DoorDash drivers, gig drivers, who can comment on some of these clips from start to finish. Let us know in the comment section if you've ever experienced some of these scams or have been on one side or the other of them. Please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Let's jump into the first clip.
Tonight, the former Stanford man who's accused of stealing almost $1 million in an elaborate DoorDash scam was shot to death Monday in New York. This came right before he was due in court in Stanford for a potential resolution in that case. News 12 Connecticut's Marissa Alter with the latest tonight.
David Smith was supposed to appear in Stanford Superior Court Wednesday morning to accept or reject a plea offer in his case. Instead, the state's attorney's office learned Smith was killed 2 days ago. New Rochelle police found David Smith shot several times in the chest Monday morning at the Heritage Homes complex. Police said a personal dispute led to the 22-year-old's death. They've since arrested 4 men in connection.
Community members did help with this, with calls to the police of the shots and descriptions of people running away.
Smith was living in Mount Vernon. He moved there after Stanford police arrested him in June 2023 in what one investigator called the most massive scheme he's seen. Smith is accused of scamming DoorDash drivers in California out of almost $1 million. Investigators recovered a large chunk of it, $733,000 in cash, when they seized 5 safes from his apartment. Police explained how the scam worked. They said Smith would use one of his many phones to place a fake DoorDash order in California. Then when the driver was on the way, Smith would impersonate DoorDash support and claim there was a problem with the order.
He would get them to click a link or go to a website, and then that essentially would turn over their credentials, their username and password, to him. Once he was in control of that, he would change the billing information and steal any funds that they had for deliveries they had done, basically steal their paycheck.
Yeah, and here it is again. We talked about it in other videos. When people send you a link or a website or anything like that, or a text or a phone call, if you aren't calling them, if they're calling you or texting you, then don't do it. Don't click stuff. Don't give them information. Don't give nothing. So he was essentially getting these DoorDash people's information, a way to contact them through these fake orders, contacting them, and then getting all their information to clear out what, the money that they were supposedly or supposed to be earning, and then just sending it to himself, probably changing it to his own bank account or to stolen bank accounts or stolen fake debit card and bank accounts where he could go and withdraw the cash and not easily be traced. Although he must have been traceable because clearly they caught him at some point.
More than 700 drivers were scammed over the course of 2.5 years. Police said Smith also stole the identities of dozens of people to open debit card accounts where he transferred the stolen money. Smith was considering a plea deal in the case at the time of his death. His decision to take the offer or go to trial had been expected at Wednesday's court hearing. The details of the deal weren't made public. As for the over $700,000 in cash that was seized in this case, Stanford police still have that money. What happens to it and whether it will go to all the victims as restitution will be determined at a hearing in March. That's also when the charges against Smith will officially be dismissed.
Pretty schemy and crafty. He got away with $1 million out of 700 people, which is like $1,400 per person, if my math is right, doing rough math here. $1,400 is a lot to steal from one person. Like, if you get scammed out of a couple $100, wouldn't you stop? Wouldn't you not give it to him? My guess is he was able to access funds they had pending and waiting, because some people on DoorDash and Uber Eats, from what I understand, let it save up for like a week and then send it to themselves. I'd be sending it to myself every single day. This is the same as eBay or Amazon or PayPal. As soon as you get money, there is zero upside to you leaving it in those accounts. The only thing you should do with money, as soon as it is available for you to send to your own bank account, is send it to your own bank account. There's almost zero reason to keep it in these other accounts. They earn interest off of you. The money is not safe. Send it to yourself as soon as it is available. Do not keep it in these accounts. And he took advantage of people that did that by getting their information and clearing them out. Pretty shady and pretty crazy. Of course, it looks like, sadly, but truthfully, karma got him. So we have a second man that figured out how to scam DoorDash, the other company, in an even more creative way, and watch what he did to get away with $2.5 million, over double what this other guy did.
In 2020, a man earned himself $2 million from door dashing by figuring out how to get DoorDash to pay him for delivering food to himself. Here's how it worked. He took himself and a few friends, including a DoorDash employee, and created fake DoorDash customer accounts, placed orders that had a large portion of food or just a large order in general, and then assigned those orders to fake drivers that they controlled, ready to be picked up. Once the fake delivery was marked as complete, DoorDash paid them as a group, collecting both the delivery fee and other additional revenue. So they still paid for the food, but they also got paid to deliver it to themselves. But they didn't stop there. You see, because one of them was a DoorDash employee, they would use a trick to reopen the order and reassign it. This means they were doing the same delivery ticket over and over again. This was repeated for hundreds of times, and each time triggered a new payout for the same order. They would get to a point where they were getting really greedy and attempted to steal more than $2.5 million in just a few hours. Eventually, they got caught, and the man behind all of it pled guilty.
So the part I don't understand is they create all these fake accounts, they start making orders, like they're gonna order a $300 pizza order, right? And then the order gets delivered. They don't actually have to go, pick it up? Because where did it go? Didn't it go to a Domino's and Domino's made 50 pizzas and they had to go pick that up and deliver it? Somebody had to pay for this? They never tell you all the details of how it worked, but I get that they just kept reopening the orders and reopening them and kept getting their, maybe Uber Eats was paying them $25 for an order, right? Or $20 for an order because it's such a big order rather than like a normal $5 or $10 payout. So they're like, oh, we're gonna make $25-30 on this. Let's just do it over and over and over and over again. And they don't actually have to do it. They could make a few $100s without actually doing anything. And then they've got 5 people doing it. Well, now they're up to $1,500 in a day, maybe $2,000, $3,000. Well, they do that all week long. You're talking about tens of thousands of dollars a week. And clearly they did $2.5 million worth of orders. They could have ramped it up even higher and faster than that. But they don't really give you all the details. I think they don't do that on purpose because they don't want anybody else trying to replicate it. I'm sure DoorDash and Uber Eats have closed their systems now where you can't really reopen it and redo what they were doing anyhow, and you don't want to go to jail, so don't do that. But that's pretty crazy, $2.5 million before they finally got caught. This next guy is talking about why DoorDash and other companies like it could go out of business because of the problems they have with their company, the fraud, and all of the scams that happen, like some of these that we just saw. I don't agree that they're going to go out of business necessarily, but they definitely have some things to clean up, and I've seen it on my end as well. Check this dude out.
Companies like DoorDash and Grubhub have been taking massive losses due to fraud. On one end, you have delivery drivers that will steal food. Even with the new proof of delivery requirements, they'll simply put the food at the front door, take a picture, and then steal it.
Has that ever happened to you? Has there anybody a driver ever put your food down, take the picture of it, and then steal it? I don't know why they think they can get away with it. We have doorbell cameras and I have outside cameras, so I would catch it. If that happened and they said, oh, your food was delivered and it wasn't there, I would immediately know, and I'd call DoorDash or whoever and I'd say, hey, I got video of my guy taking the food. Like legit, they're gonna get caught. The technology we have these days is so good. I don't know why they would even try it unless they're just like really hungry or desperate. I'm not sure, but too easy to get caught. Too easy to get caught by the cameras, the doorbells. It's just, don't do it.
On the other end, you have customers that get their food and they report that they didn't get it or that it was the wrong order, so they didn't get a refund. And you have a broken tipping system that penalizes customers who don't pledge huge tips up front, and drivers will simply refuse to pick up their orders. Then, to make matters worse,
that happens where people order like, hey, 2 Big Macs, 2 Diet Cokes, and 2 fries, right? And it shows up, gets delivered. You get it in there, and then the scammers will call and go, I only got 1 Big Mac, or I was missing my fries, or whatever, right? And they get a partial refund. People are going to take advantage of that all the time, anywhere. Restaurants, it happens, daily. But there's no real way to prove what was in there or what was on it. They could say, oh, I asked for no tomato, and there's tomatoes on it, right? And I'm allergic to tomatoes. There could be any number of things that they could do to try to get away with it. Yeah, they're going to pull some scams here and there, but I think DoorDash and Uber Eats have a rule, like if you're somebody who does that, habitually that they're going to cut you off from ordering, right? Like if you're somebody who's always trying to get refunds, they're not going to let you use the service anymore.
First, the prices on the app are 50 to 60% higher than in the stores. That's before even you add half a dozen different fees. So for a $15 meal, it'll end up costing you $60 or more to have it delivered cold. So what's the point? How will delivery services survive? When's the last time you used Grubhub or DoorDash? I used to, but even for me, the cost became too great and the service too poor.
Agree, 100%. So me and Kate were getting Chili's. I got a appetizer, the triple dipper, and she got a steak and potatoes and broccoli, which should have been like $35 if we went to the restaurant, $30, $35, and it was like $47. So it was like an extra $15, right? And then you got to pay the $2.99 delivery fee. You got to pay the tip to the driver, which you'd pay a tip if you went into the restaurant. So that's sort of negligible unless you picked it up, which you wouldn't have to tip then. But I mean, if you sat down, it ends up being what I would have spent at the restaurant, $40, $45, ended up costing like $67 to have delivered, plus the tip was like another, $10, $15. So it's a lot, right? It's a lot more. You're going to spend an extra $15 to $20 having it delivered. People can't afford to pay for groceries. How are these companies going to continue to generate revenue? I know there's always rich people and people that are lazy and people that will pay for these services and spend the extra $20, but there's not enough people, then you can't stay in business. You can't keep operating the way you're operating, right? And they got greedy during COVID and all that because they could charge more because people didn't have a lot of choice. But now people do have choices. You can go out, you can cook, you can get groceries and make food. They can't keep up this status quo and expect to stay in business. Okay, so the next young lady, DoorDash driver, who's going to explain the scam where they try to get your information and take it from you. If you're somebody who not only is like maybe a reseller or does side work and you are a driver for Uber Eats or DoorDash, please pay attention to these scams because they are happening every day where they try to get your information and take all of your money. Check it out. This one will hopefully make it hit home for you.
Almost got scammed on DoorDash. My name is Vanessa and I'm a DoorDash driver and I'm going to tell you about this DoorDash scam. I got an order for a pizza place, so I drove to the pizza place. As soon as I parked, I get a second order coming in. It was saying that it was for Taco Bell, and it was half a mile away from Taco Bell. And I was debating on even taking it, because a lot of times when they add one like that, it doesn't have a tip on it. I was like, it's a half a mile away, let me just do it. As soon as I accept the order, I go in and I look and see what is in the order, and it's one avocado sauce packet. Now, I remember about a year ago where another DoorDasher was telling me that she received an order, and when she got to the restaurant, it said that it was sauce packets, and immediately DoorDash was calling her. So she answers it. The number that came up on the phone said DoorDash, and it had like a DoorDash type of phone number. If you do it, then you know.
Doesn't matter, guys. If they call you, they're calling you spoofing it. They're going to make it look legitimate, right? It's not actually the company. If somebody calls you, you hang up, you call them back.
So they say they're from DoorDash support and that this order needs to be canceled, but not to worry, that they're going to receive full pay for the order. They know everything about the order. They know the person's name. They know what's in the order. They know the address. They know everything that she knows about the order. They know. So once they go through all those details with her, they then say, okay, now we need to make sure that you're going to receive your full pay. And they proceed to start asking her questions about her, I believe at the time it was Dasher Direct card. I'm going to preface this by saying she's an older lady. But having all the information that they had, she assumed that this was DoorDash and she wanted to get her full pay. And she gave them the information and they wiped her bank account. So when I seen that one avocado sauce packet pop up on there, I was like, oh, hell no, they ain't getting me. I didn't even want the order to stay up on my screen long enough for me to call DoorDash support myself. But pretty much a minute or two after I accepted the order, I got a call from DoorDash and I didn't answer it. And I got another call from DoorDash and I didn't answer it. And they called me back to back 3 to 4 times and I didn't answer it. And they're messaging me, cancel the order, cancel the order. And I did unassign the order. And it wasn't the customer, because if the customer was trying to say cancel the order, the message would come through the DoorDash app. This message was coming through my actual text messages. I proceeded to ignore it and continue on with the first order that I received. I wasn't worried about that one. They eventually stopped calling me. I'm assuming that that order got assigned to somebody else. I don't know, because I don't know how this scam works. I don't know if that order actually is coming from DoorDash or what? Like, they know all the information about the order. I don't understand how that works. I don't know if DoorDash is sending the order.
Yeah, a lot of these don't ever fully explain it because they don't understand it, or the people that do don't want others to figure out how to do it. But essentially, they're getting the information, they're calling the dasher, and they're getting your personal and financial information to clear it out. So if you get that, make sure, again, you call in, you don't let them call you or message you. Don't respond to anything that somebody sends you. You always reach out directly yourself. Now, there's also some scammy drivers on the app who, on the flip side, are gonna try to scam the customer, and they'll try to pull anything they can, including like getting you to pay them cash for orders that they say there's a problem getting reimbursed for. Check this one out.
If you've ever had a weird experience on DoorDash, listen up. Not sure if this has happened to anyone else before, but my husband and I were in Nashville last weekend, and I, of course, forgot sunscreen, and we were going to be spending all day on a rooftop pool, so I wanted to make sure that I had some sunscreen. Placed my order for Walgreens, said it would be 25 to 30 minutes. They assigned me a dasher, Brandon. I get a message from Brandon saying that his dasher card was not working and he had to pay cash for my order. My Karen senses immediately went off, and I immediately knew this guy's trying to scam me. He's trying to say that he was not being reimbursed from DoorDash to pay for my products so that way I could pay him, even though that was not the case. So essentially he would be paid double, plus paid for the products that he quote unquote paid cash for. My response was, you can contact DoorDash for your reimbursement.
Right. Any reimbursement that DoorDash is doing to their drivers is their responsibility, and never for the customer to put out the cash. If you log into the app and you make a payment with your credit card or debit card or whatever, then you are done. You don't need to spend or pay any other funds. And if a driver tells you that, they're almost likely scamming or lying.
Immediately contact DoorDash to get my order canceled because I started getting paranoid about the issue and thought this guy's definitely going to try to rob me. They, of course, fought with me and did not want to cancel my order because it was already in progress. I said, screw it. I'll just eat the $25 for my sunscreen and eyeliner and cancel it myself. As I'm about to cancel my order, I get a message from Brandon with a picture of the items saying, are these what you ordered? He was in store, had not purchased the items yet, even though he had just told me that he had to pay cash for my order. It made the logistics there, just like in the timing, made absolutely no sense. Contacted DoorDash again, told them my problem. They immediately reimbursed me. This is just a little warning of what scam may be going around right now through DoorDash, and never pay your dasher cash.
No, yeah, he was trying to do it before he got to the store to see if he could get the money out of her. And then when she said no and he realized it wasn't going to work, he tried to fulfill the order as normal just to get paid and make it look good. So never ever give your drivers cash money. If you want to give them a cash tip, that's okay. You are welcome to do that if you feel like they went above and beyond, but don't ever fall for that scam. All right, we got two more quick clips and we'll get out of here. This one is Uber scamming the customers, the Uber drivers, getting you to pick you up and drive you somewhere. The company Uber scamming you. Watch this guy. He's in Los Angeles at LAX. He's trying to go to the airport. Watch this.
Uber is just scamming passengers right now, and everybody needs to know. I mean, look at how many cars are just swarming around the dot where I am right now. So I ordered this Uber, $44, and I'm on the typical waiting screen. And I got this offer for a faster pickup for $7.73, but I refuse it because I want to save some money. So it brings me back to the waiting screen, and this time we have a time, 10 minutes away, and a car on the screen, but it still says connecting you to a driver. 5 minutes have passed, we still got a car on the screen, and now it says 5 minutes away, but it still says connecting you to a driver. But after waiting another 5 minutes, I get this, UberX is unavailable right now. So I order another Uber, and what do you know, $114, that's almost 3 times what they originally quoted me. And if you're skeptical, keep in mind this is the same company forced to pay $290 million due to wage theft.
That's an absolute fact. Uber agreed to pay $290 million and Lyft $38 million in New York, which the Attorney General Letitia James called the largest wage theft settlement her office has ever secured. The money will be distributed to cheated drivers who will get back pay along with mandatory paid sick leave and other benefits. Now, here's the thing. This happened to us in Vegas, actually, when me and Kate went the last time together. We got out to the airport and we had an Uber. You know, the minute I got off the plane, got into the terminal, I start ordering the Uber to go to our hotel. And it was like $30, right? Like $29, $30. And it's not even that far. So I get up to the Uber Eats section, which if you've ever been to the Vegas airport, it takes a minute. You got to kind of go down, go through the terminal, go up the escalator, out the thing, across the bridge. It's a little bit of a walk, like 10 minutes to get there, right? And you get there, and all these Uber drivers are coming through, and I'm waiting, and it's not connecting. It's telling me it's $30, but I'm trying to secure the driver, right? And it's not doing it. I get outside, and it does exactly what he just said. It like reloads, and then all of a sudden it's $60. I'm like, well, it was just $30 a second ago. Like, why is it $60? And what happens is, and I've been told this by some sources and some drivers and some company people, is that it starts recognizing that they're, you know, as soon as my plane let out, that there's now a ton of people looking for an Uber and everyone needs an Uber at the same time. And they call it like peak, you know, like during the holidays and New Year's Eve, they always raise the prices because there's a lot of supply and demand, right? Like everyone needs a ride on New Year's Eve to get home. And so if you're in a hot spot like downtown Tampa, and normally an Uber might be $30, $40, it's gonna be $60 or $70 because they're gonna get their money out of you because they know you have to have it. Well, they do the same thing at the airports. A lot of times, it's almost like their systems know, they've programmed and coded it to know when planes are landing and letting out. I know this sounds crazy and conspiracy theory, but it's true that all these people are now within 10 minutes of getting off a plane or 20 minutes of a plane landing, the prices start refreshing and everyone's trying to do it at the same time and they hit you with higher prices. It sounds like a scam to me. I don't know how they get away with it, but we're gonna see one more scam out of these companies that is scamming their drivers, and it is pretty shocking. Let's check out the last clip. Let me know if you've experienced any of these scams or if you've been on any end of this with your food, with your driving, with your wages, with your prices of your ride. Just let me know in the comments section because I think it's very widespread with a lot of stuff that goes on with these companies, and it's pretty scary. Okay, this video is with 7 Uber drivers that are put in the same room, all with their phones, and they all try to accept a ride. Like they have somebody go in and say, hey, I want to order a ride. I want to go from here to the airport. So all 7 of these drivers are in the same room on the same Wi-Fi with different kinds of phones, but the same exact accounts, everything. And they go, okay, let's all accept it. And when they do, they're each offered a different amount of money. And the gig goes like this, or the scam rather, is that Uber is somehow paying different drivers different amounts. Some are making more money for the exact same ride than others, either because of their age, race, their gender, their financial situation, their history, just all sorts of factors that they believe, discriminatory factors that they believe Uber is using to pay people different types of money for the same exact job. We can't play this whole thing because it's about 12 minutes, but I'm gonna play you a couple of select clips out of it and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
A law professor published a paper with shocking implications. Her research found that tech firms like Uber and Lyft were using secret algorithms to dictate what drivers earn, based on factors we can't even see. She called it algorithmic wage discrimination. And this technology, or revolution, isn't restricted to rideshare companies.
Once that technology is in there, they can raise prices. On a hot summer day, you know, I want a lot of ice cream, I want lemonade. They're running low, they can raise the price.
The price of milk, even your paycheck, the very fabric of our economy, all controlled by invisible and unaccountable algorithms. A lot of drivers feel Uber and Lyft are paying different wages for the same rides. But we don't really know because the companies, they aren't talking.
We're doing a very simple thing. We're picking up people point A to dropping off point B. I shouldn't make less money than the next guy. I should not. But because it's not regulated, because we don't have rate cards, because we don't know what we're gonna make, trip to trip, it's demoralizing, it's upsetting.
So with Sergio's help, we decided to test it. We called 7 experienced drivers to a high traffic area in Los Angeles with the sole purpose of testing if rideshare companies are paying different rates for the same rides. At the start, each driver will activate their screen capture software, open up the app, and place their phones on the table. Why the table? Sergio has done similar experiments And the rate disparities were blamed on location differences. When the experiments are done, the drivers will send their screen recording to Sergio's team, who will then sync and analyze the fares. And then we're going to see what's really going on.
He's getting paid $1 more if he goes there, according to the math, and nobody else is. Nobody else is seeing that dollar surge.
We found that Uber offered the same rides 46 times to multiple drivers. 63% of the time, one of the drivers was offered a bit less money for the exact same ride.
They want to make few pennies difference, and few pennies on 2.7 billion trips a quarter, which is from the last earnings report, is millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Lyft was even worse. The price gap wasn't just a little off, it was a lot off. We saw differences of up to $3 to $4 after bonuses. And drivers don't know why one person gets a bonus and another doesn't.
Well, that adds up like on 30 trips at $10 a day. That's $300 a month. Why should I get paid less $300 a month than the other guy?
So I'm gonna stop it there because you guys kind of get the point of this video. They are showing that certain people are getting more money for the same exact job than other people are. And it's been alleged that it has to do with race, gender, age, history, desperation, they're calling it even, like where they think a driver hasn't made a lot of money, so they're desperate to take rides so they can give them less just so they can secure rides or the percentages. And they don't have to talk about it. They're not disclosing all of this, and no one knows what's going on one way or the other, which seems really, really shady. I don't know. Are you an Uber driver? Somebody done Uber driving or Lyft and can talk more about this? Pretty crazy if you ask me. I would never work for a company or do ride shares or do driving and delivering if I didn't know what I was getting paid and there wasn't a set standard, right? I'll find something else to do besides this, like selling or whatever. But this sounds like it shouldn't be legal. It should be illegal, and they should be investigating this. And apparently there are people and lawmakers who are digging into this. This was filmed in July of 2024. It was released at the end of 24. So about, 6 to 9 months ago, they released this, maybe 9 months ago, and it was filmed about a year ago. So I don't know, in that time frame, in those last 9 months, obviously laws take a long time to come about, but what things they have been doing or actions they have been taking against Uber and Lyft to get this solved. Pretty insane if you're somebody who does these gig work, driving and delivering, and knowing that you could be getting less money than the next guy or girl. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. There's a lot of shadiness, a lot of scams going on with Uber, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Lyft. It's all one crazy wild west of a world, and these companies blew up in the last 5 years. So not surprising that there are not a ton of restrictions and oversight, but they've got to get it under control because we don't want our people getting treated unfairly and us getting scammed, the customers, the drivers, and everybody in between. As always, guys, thank you for checking out these videos, for watching. If you could hit that like button, it would mean a whole lot to me. Share this video out to your social media. That means the most to all of us as well, so others can see it and keep themselves safe from the scams. Hit the subscribe button, come back, watch future videos, and until the next one, I'll see you guys later.